All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's got a real treat for you. In case you didn't know, Chatterlime, that's chatterlime.com. We are hosting a monthly webinar series to help you grow your business and really just excel in individual areas that can definitely bring in some profits and sales for you and what you're doing. This month we have a real treat on our hands. We have Lucas Spangler here, founder of Corkscrew Mobile, and he's going to be teaching some of the secrets behind his success and some great things that you can implement as far as emails go. So you're in for a real treat. I know he's going to do some question and answers at the end, and I think he's arranged something special for you as well. So stay tuned for that. And with that, I will hand it over to you, Lucas.
Awesome. Thank you, Carter. I really want to thank Carter Johnson, Don Traxler, and Trevor Page for setting up this event. I'm really excited to be able to speak for you guys. I'm also really excited about what's happening in your guys' business. Talking with you earlier, just hearing a bunch of the things that are going on. You guys are growing like gangbusters. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out Chatterlime yet, definitely check it out. They're doing a lot of great things in terms of chat, and it's really worthwhile and really valuable. Check out their website, chatterlime.com. But enough about them. I'm going to switch over to me now. My name is Lucas Spangler, and I am the founder of Corkscrew Mobile. And I'm just going to kind of jump right in here, but before I jump in, I just want to kind of set up some of the ground rules. First thing is, if you don't have a pen and paper handy, go ahead and grab that right now. I'm going to cover a lot of really interesting material, a lot of good material, and I want to make sure that you get good notes. Also, too, as I'm going along through here, I kind of have this structured so that as questions come up or pop into your mind, that's probably the next thing that I'm about to cover. So just jot your questions down in the margin, and I'm going to open it up for a Q&A at the end to be able to cover through all the different material that we've gone through here tonight. But it just kind of helps keep me moving so we can do this in about 45, 50 minutes instead of having this turn into a 2-3 hour event. Last thing, too, is I hope you have fun. I'm going to make this interactive, so I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and feel free to interact and say things back to me as I go through it. With that, let's jump in. So here's what I want to cover with you today. Help you see an explosion in sales. The first thing I'm going to cover is mindset of focus and how to reach what I call fanatic focus. You may wonder, what does focus have to do with writing emails? Focus has everything to do with writing emails, because I'm going to cover a lot of really good stuff here, and without the ability to implement and focus and make it work, none of this information is going to be helpful for you. So I'm going to cover more on how to be really focused, detailed, and be effective at implementing these ideas so that you can get the maximum benefit from them. After I talk to you about focus, we're going to cover subject lines that get opened and discover why your emails are sitting in people's inboxes left totally unopened and untouched. After the emails, we're going to show you how to dodge spam filters and actually get your message in front of your prospects. After you've jumped around spam filters, we're going to show you how to write content that will leave drool marks all over your customers' keyboards, and that you can have that sexy toned email body that you have always wanted. Then we'll show you content organization for fun and for profit, and how to get your content put together in such a way that people just can't take their eyes off it. And I'm going to show you how to message until you hear yes, and why you're literally leaving sales on the table. And here's my bonus. Do you know the most commonly read part of an email? More to come on that. Before I jump into all this content, you're probably like, all right, who is this Luke Spangler guy? A little bit about me is I spent 4 years of my life as a door-to-door salesman selling educational books and software for the Southwestern Company. I worked 80 hours a week on 100% commission, living in another state for 3 months during college with no guaranteed place to live. I conducted over 12,000 sales calls and managed over $200,000 in retail sales. I instructed and trained over 20 sales representatives, and I've spent the last year online marketing with Corkscrew Mobile. And I've even conducted several email campaigns with over 2,000 prospects. Another little fun fact about me is I'm born and raised in Minnesota. I am in the Central Time Zone tonight. If you guys know where St. Paul, Minneapolis is in the central part of Minnesota, if you go about 4.5 hours north of that is my hometown, Ely, Minnesota. But if you guys don't know where that is, if you know where Canada is, go about 12 miles south of the border, and that's where I grew up. I usually win the smallest town competition because people are like, well, my hometown was so small, we only had like 2 stoplights. Or my hometown was so small, we had like 3 bars. Or my hometown was so small, we only had 1 grocery store. Well, my hometown was so small, that's where the road stopped. Literally, you couldn't go any farther. There's a little cul-de-sac at the end. You had to turn around and go back. So I'm a little small town boy from Minnesota. But jumping right in, I want to know, what is the most painful part of writing email for you? If you want to go ahead and type into the chat bar there, is it writing the subject? Is it taking the time to do it? Is it, how do you put something in there that's interesting? How do you grab attention? How do you make emails emotional? Go ahead and let me know what you have to spend the most time on when you're writing email. Caroline Johnson from Indianapolis, Indiana says, know what content is important to the person. That is really, really challenging. We're going to cover a little bit too on some ideas on how to dig deeper into what's important for your customers. Carter Johnson says, being able to get it short so it's effective and succinct. We'll have a couple of ideas too on how to keep it succinct and short. So before I jump into some of these tactics on how to do this, the way I view approaching selling is that there's 2 sides to selling. One is there's a technical side, the how-to, the strategy, every detailed bullet point of the step-by-step process of how you do it. Now, can anybody do a step-by-step process if it's handed in front of them? Yes. That's very, very easy to do because it's all laid out for you. And that's all logical information because you go from A to B to C. That's what I call the logical side of selling and sending emails. Now there's another side that I call the emotional side of selling emails. And that's everything from how you feel when you don't know what to write. When you sit at the keyboard and you get that little sinking pit in your stomach when you're like, I don't know if this is going to connect. When you push that and you're like, I don't know if anybody's going to respond. There's the other side of email that is emotional. That part where you get elated when you get the email back that says, I want to purchase your product. What do I have to do? And I'm going to spend the first part of this presentation working on that emotional side because without that emotional part, all those technical things, the bullet points, are going to be very, very hard to go through. But if you master the emotional side of selling, all those bullet point things become much, much easier and much, much more effective for you. I'm going to show you how. So real quick here, some facts about sending emails is that 61% of people state that not being interested in an email was the most common reason for not opening an email, followed by getting too many emails, a bombarded inbox, overloaded, stacked up, too much going on. Another thing that I found about emails is that if you spend $1 on an email, you're going to get that $1.40 back. So the average ROI is 40%. 35% of email recipients opened it based on the subject line alone. Let me repeat that. 35% of email recipients open email based on the subject line alone. Keep that in the back of your head because that's going to be important as we go along through the presentation here today. Those are just some facts to get you thinking about why is email so important. So here's what we need to learn. This is the emotional side. What does it take to truly crush it with emails? How do we get into that space where we're not just writing emails, but we're dominating emails? We're not just good, we're not just great, we're literally changing lives. This is the part that I see as most important. The concept that I think of is what I call you're 6 inches away from success. Why do I say 6 inches away from success? Because that is the distance from your right ear to your left ear. That is the distance you need to conquer to understand and to master to become phenomenal, great, not only at emails, but every aspect of business. And it's the secret of getting out of your own way and getting the results you so badly desire. When you walk away from this presentation today, I want you to know and learn one thing. And that's the one thing I have on the next line. That's my definition of learning. My definition of learning is the absorption of knowledge that changes behavior. The absorption of knowledge that changes behavior. If you have a pen and paper in front of you, write that down now. The absorption of knowledge that changes behavior. Why do I see this being so critical? Why is it so important? Because there's going to be so many great bullet points here coming up that are going to really help you out with writing email. But if all you do is know it in your head and know the knowledge, but you never put it to action, you haven't learned anything. You only know it. I'm all about taking action on the things that you are learning about, on the things that are becoming knowledge and turn into true learning. Because it's not until you do it that you actually learn it. So how much I see you learn today is measured by how much you change and how many activities you engage in and the kinds of activities you engage in moving forward. So my thing is, though, if you know it and you know you need to change your behavior, how do you change your behavior? How do you make it easier for you to write emails? How do you write better subject lines? How do you make your emails more emotional? How do you make it so that your emails are shorter? You can probably wonder for a while, and you can go ahead and read thousands of books on becoming more successful and more productive to try and figure it out. There are even hundreds and hundreds of books on how to be a better learner, how to take in knowledge better. And there are at least a few people in your life who are actively probably trying to grow and change and become a better person who you can learn from. But even though you read about success, you read about learning, and you have examples around you, how do you truly become one of the world's greatest implementers of knowledge? How do you become one of the world's greatest learners? The way to do it is through behavior change. Because without behavior change, nothing in this presentation is useful for you. The way to go about doing behavior change is what I call fanatic focus. Because the secret to getting out of your own way, what I like to talk about at Corkscrew Mobile, is fanatic focus. Because there's subject lines here that are going to show you that are going to be open 20, 30% over your average subject line. I will show you how to structure an email that people won't be able to take their eyes off the words. I'm even going to show you how to turn someone skipping over your entire email, looking over it, and not even doing anything, to becoming one of your most actively engaged users with your brand. How do you do it? Fanatic focus. Fanatic focus. What do I mean by fanatic focus? Let's break it down a little bit more. What I see is what I call level 1 focus is the kind of people that are like, you know what? I'm going to just set a goal. There's not a part on this spectrum, but I call it level 0 focus, where you're unfocused. And that's where you just go through life and you have nothing that you're focused, nothing that you direct your energy towards, nothing that you're working on. All it is you're just going through life, whatever happens, happens. So when you go above level 0 focus, you get to level 1, which is you have a goal and you feel like working on it. So let's say you set a goal of you want to become faster at writing emails by 2 minutes, or you're going to eliminate email time by 2 minutes every day. Okay, you have a goal, and well, you work on it one day, and then you forget about it the next 3, then you work on it the next day, and you forget about it for 4, And then a couple months later, you're like, oh yeah, I remember I was working on that a while back. You have the goal, but you're not really working on it. You kind of do it when you feel like it. Level 2 focus. You work on a goal when it is scheduled. So you tell yourself, I'm going to get better from 10 a.m. to 10:05 a.m. at being faster at writing email. I'm going to work on being faster at writing subject lines. I'm going to be better and faster than anybody else in my industry at writing short content that gets results. 10 to 10:05, you're working on it. You're at least scheduled. Level 3 focus is where you work on the goal when it's scheduled and you ask for feedback. So not only do you have from 10 to 10:05, 10 to 10:10, you're also asking for feedback. So you're connecting with those people around you that are motivated, energized, trying to do something, make something of themselves, and you're getting feedback from them on how to become better at it. Even better is if you reach out to somebody who is already good at it and they're giving you feedback on how to get better at it. So now all of a sudden you don't just go from having the goal and you don't just have a schedule. Now you're going to actually getting feedback and figuring out how to implement it faster.